Actually, I'm supporting a couple of causes. This cause I've just done a little more than the others because of the kind of work that I'm
Hmm,
doing.
hmm,
I actually stumbled upon them by pure chance.
hmm,
I went for a wedding in OT,
hmm, hmm,
and so a couple of friends and I went there, met her, and she was just so welcoming and
hmm,
inspiring. She
hmm.
told us about her story, how she's basically American,
Okay.
and she came to India and decided to, dedicate her life to just rescuing women and children from sex trafficking. Moved
Hmm,
her family here,
hmm, hmm.
basically live bare minimum just to, dedicate her life to this.
So, hi everyone. Today we have Sonali with us. So, I kind of stumbled upon her through Instagram. So, she had made a very beautiful portrait of Slash. So, he is a guitarist of Guns N' Roses, and I was kind of very inspired by that, like the amazing artwork. And then I kind of reached out to her. So, like, thank you, Sonali, for doing this. So, just for the audience, like, can you just give a small introduction about who you are and, like, what do you do roughly?
So I'm Sonali Tamichetti. I basically work in investment banking right now,
Hmm.
and simultaneously I'd like to do more for society. So I started selling the art that I work to raise funds for different charities.
Hmm.
So it's been a couple of years now, and I've been very close to one particular NGO that's called Freedom Firm. That's solely because I stumbled upon the founder, and I think
Hmm.
that's a great cause. So
Yeah,
hoping that
yeah,
more
yeah,
more to come from there.
definitely. I think you kind of currently put up in Bangalore, right? The place of ideas, like
Yes.
where a lot of different things happen all together. So that's quite a thing. So how did you stumbled upon him? Like, how was that encounter? I think you're talking about the that specific NGO which works who are survivors of sex trafficking per se, right? So, like, how kind of you met
Yeah.
him and how has the experience been? Like, specifically, like you're dedicating something so precious to your heart. I think for artists, let's say for this cause. So, like, what kind of motivated you for that?
So actually, I'm supporting a couple of causes. This
Hmm,
cause I've just done a little more than the others because of the kind of work that I'm doing.
hmm, hmm,
I actually stumbled upon them by pure chance.
hmm,
I went for a wedding in OT,
hmm, hmm, hmm,
and the place that we are staying in, we realized is going to close. We have to leave soon. So
hmm,
on Airbnb, we booked whatever random
hmm,
option was
hmm,
there.
hmm,
And it ended up being the place that the founder of Freedom Farm is actually put on Airbnb to raise funds for the NGO.
hmm, hmm,
So a couple of friends and I went there, met her, and she was just so welcoming and inspiring. She
hmm.
told us about her story, how she's basically American,
Okay.
and she came to India and decided to, dedicate her life to just rescuing women and children from sex trafficking. Moved
Hmm,
her family here,
hmm, hmm,
basically live bare minimum just to, dedicate her life to this.
hmm,
And then we started spending time more and more. Instead of spending time with my friends, I ended up getting stuck to her,
hmm,
basically.
hmm, hmm,
And the entire trip went to getting educated about this entire cause and what's
hmm,
happening. And, I really wanted to help and make a difference because in the past, I was working with an old age home and basically, the
hmm,
smaller animal rights kind of
hmm, hmm,
setup. So I was
hmm,
doing those sort of things. This just was so amazing. And I couldn't believe that she dedicated her entire
hmm,
life for this. And I thought this is a
hmm,
little bit I can do to help.
hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think we meet all sorts of people when we kind of explore. I think the fact of randomness kind of comes into our life, roughly. So yeah, I think I was
Yeah.
kind of very intrigued by your journey in one sense because I like stalked a lot of your pictures per se, a lot of your profiles. So I was very curious as to how a person like you who is having, let's say, a very successful corporate career, like in one sense, right? How you kind of stumbled upon painting for that matter. Like, was it something that you were kind of inspired to do in childhood, or was that something your parents pushed into? Like, how was that experience for you? How did like that chose you specifically painting for that matter?
That's actually an interesting one. So my aunt is very artistically inclined, so I like to think I got it from her. But a couple of years ago, I actually was just doodling. My sister ended up buying me this whole charcoal set and this book
Hmm,
and everything, and said, "Just go for it."
hmm, hmm,
And I started from there. I just thought, okay, I didn't think much of it. I just thought maybe this could be a good hobby.
hmm, hmm,
And from there, it just
hmm,
went from one step to the next. As I was drawing pictures, another friend told me to start posting on Instagram. He
hmm,
actually made my Instagram and started
hmm,
posting for me.
hmm.
And then it's like, okay, take it
Ah.
from there. And then again, something more and more things kept happening and falling into place. A boss of mine at that point of time knew I was trying to raise funds for different charities. He told me he'll buy my painting and give the money that way. And that became a thing. So it was just like
Nice.
one after the other.
Nice. So I think you kind of started it in your corporate career of sorts, right? Like painting was something that you started when you started working professionally, if I am able to perceive it, right?
Yeah.
Great. Because usually
Yeah.
what happens with a lot of artists which I've spoken to, like, it's something that, like, that classic story that, okay, this was something we had done in school, and then that kind of pursues them further. But it's quite interesting. So, like, how do you kind of manage your time in one sense? Like, I think there might be initial blockers when, let's say, you're kind of learning something, or was it something like your learning was like this very rapid per se? So, like, how was that learning experience for you?
It's actually very hard, to be honest. I don't think I manage my time very well. It's all over the place. I actually need to start managing my time better. But the thing is, I think it was a lot of support from family and friends to, spend time and start learning. I did a couple of workshops. I wanted to go for classes, but just never end up having the time. So I didn't want to stop myself from there. So whenever I get time and the right mind space, I just start working on different art pieces. And plus point is I've got a lot of support as well, because causes, apart from Freedom Farm, I also like to support different other NGOs. One that is actually helping intellectually challenged individuals learn data entry, and that's outstanding. And so then there's another NGO that rescues animals and things like that. And it's also up to the people who want to give wherever they want to give. So it's that kind of a thing, right? And because they kept asking me for more and more, I ended up doing it more and more. It was more around that, and I do love it. Don't get me wrong.
No, definitely. I can see the passion. I think if one goes through your paintings roughly, I think they see a lot of passion per se. So let's say if someone wants to kind of start this journey, I'm sure you might be having a couple of resources, because for me personally, when I was in my music learning journey for that matter, it was mostly through YouTube and a lot of free resources, because like the place I come from, there's not a lot of resources per se. So I'm sure there might be some of your favorite people, or let's say certain like artists whom you draw your inspiration from. So like what does that roadmap look like for, let's say, a complete beginner, or let's say who wants to kind of just start at it from the go?
That's a very good question, actually. So I do like the whole Renaissance style of art. I've always liked art history, to be honest. It's always been a passion. Never thought I could actually draw, but that was something that I liked. I always liked artists who changed the structure altogether, like artists like Titian and whatnot, right? They created new concepts and they created new ways of being. So those are the kind of inspirations that I like, because when you look at art, it's like a snapshot of history to me. Like you're looking at a photograph of something back in time. So that was how I look at it. And I actually enjoy art history. Love it thoroughly. So I wouldn't say I'm not even remotely close to being able to do those sort of pieces, but that kind of space that I like to get inspired from.
I think when I was going through art style, I think there are a lot of fundamental different styles of painting. One which kind of expresses your experiences. One is more towards like copying, let's say, a photo in a sense. I think it's called photorealism or something of those sorts. So I think fundamentally, if one wants to kind of discover their style, right, is it through experimentation, or like what speaks to them the most per se? Like how should kind of one go at it?
I think I'm still trying to discover my style. I haven't found it yet, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm still in the experimenting phase. So if you see, there are very different styles, because some of it have been orders. So people order different concepts from me, and that's why you'd see some paintings are drastically different from the others. Some would be more cultural, pop culture kind of references, and then something would be spiritual. So the spiritual side of it was something that I would enjoyed a lot. So that's what I did, just out of my personal interest, and the remaining have been orders.
Got
So
it.
that's why it's so different from one another.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I think the last conversation that we had, I think you were not very remotely close to anything spiritual, but when I was kind of seeing your paintings in one sense, so it kind of explored a lot of those tangents as well. So that's quite interesting.